topic of the week. And we always like to have a little something like if we were going to give advice to ourselves when we were younger,
Yeah.
what would we say? And that's kind of what we're going to here is that I think we started, how to walk away
Yeah.
or when to know when to walk away.
And no, we don't mean politically. This is no.
No, this is about relationships. This is
Yeah.
this is a couple different types of relationships, man. It could be for any reason. There's the type where, let's say, a girl is madly in love with you and she wants to spend the rest of her life with you, but you don't feel the same way. That's going to be tough to walk away from, right? Because you're the bad guy in that situation. Or you're in an abusive relationship and this person, like Walter White and his freaking wife in Breaking Bad. How do you walk away from that, Or there's definitely a whole bunch of different ways. Or on top of that, if somebody is that, here's the one that I had a lot. What if you were going fucking legit fucking apeshit crazy for somebody and they don't feel the same way about you?
Yeah.
How do you walk away from that? So, where's a good place where we should start, I think?
Okay, so I can just, by the way, all this stuff we talk about, I know there's some people out there that want to give advice that don't really know what to talk. We're speaking from either past failures, or past missed opportunities, shit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not, this is like advice to where like we're telling you like, hey, listen, like we fucked up. And here's how it's like reverse engineering a bad idea.
Exactly. Like the video you just saw. Or,
That was good, man. Come on.
It was good. Yeah. But it's like if you saw me come up here and like, guys, I'm going to give you some dieting tips. Yeah. And you're like, what? He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
And I mean, listen, I haven't been laid since Trump was like first inaugurated, so I can't even say shit.
Yeah, it was actually during the inauguration.
It was during the inauguration. Me and Candace Owens went in the back and fucked in a porta potty.
Yeah.
No. Anyway. Okay. I'll do one.
Okay.
Like from my experience, there's this girl I dated 3 years ago, and so me and her dated, and it was hot and heavy real quick. And I really liked her, man. I'm trying to get with her for fucking couple years, and she was like with somebody, or she was just not around, so I didn't really get a chance. And then I got my chance, and I took advantage of it, not like in a bad way, but I took advantage of the chance, and I made it happen, which was great. And it was good for like about a month, and then the wheels, everything came undone. Like everything came undone, like Buster Keaton style, like the fucking, you know what I'm saying, like just. And then we ended up stopped. And then I broke up with her. And then while breaking up with her, I fucking started dating somebody else while I was broken up with the first girl. And that, because of her, my mind was kind of on that chick the whole time. Not the whole time, but like, I don't know, she was in like the back of my brain a lot. Because I saw her, I used to work with her, so like I saw her all the fucking time. And then eventually, like, and I put like a giant wall between us, but I knew that I couldn't get away from the fact that I liked her. Still liked her. Was crazy about her. And then I ended up fucking up a lot of my with that other relationship, because I don't feel like I could have given her the entire amount of me, if you will. So then me and her kind of got, we really didn't even get back together. What happened was like I was hanging out with her again, and she was basically she was simping me. Like I was like going over her house and sleeping over, but nothing would happen. And she would, have me go with her to like Target and shit like that, and I'd hang out with her. And I didn't know how to walk away. And I literally had to burn it all to the ground. Like I had to quit my job. I had to all that shit. And you don't have to do that. You could be better than that. I'm just saying that's how bad it gets sometimes for some dudes, where like they don't know how. You've got to literally. It's like having a cut in your hand and ripping your whole arm off. You know what I mean? That's
fuck this thing.
Yeah, just fucking tear your arm out of the socket, fucking over a hangnail. And so don't do that. That's a terrible idea. You have to be able to look at that person in the face and be like, I can't do this anymore, and walk away and stay walked away. Because she sent me DMs after we broke up, like the final time, like sad fucking dog emojis and all that shit. And I was like, and I had to ignore it. I had no choice. I had to. Because I know if I would have engaged, it would have sucked me right the fuck back in. And that's the problem that a lot of dudes, me included, have, is that you want to get away from that and you can't, because every time you try, feelings get you. And then you're like, oh, how are you doing? I haven't heard from you in a while. And then wham, you're right back to where you started.
Yeah,
So you gotta-
because there's those things like, you know, the feeling needed, feeling wanted. That's what always kind of drove me in.
Oh yeah, big time.
There was a situation that, man, that I was not the hero of this story. That it was somebody that I dated previously years and years ago, and the opportunity arose for them to come and hang out, you know, have some fun and stuff. And I knew it was a bad idea, but there was something about, and I made a bit about it, I'm not, which I won't do here, but it was pretty selfish in nature looking back on it, you know. Didn't seem that way at the time, and that's one of the things that I think it's kind of important I want to get across is that being really, really, really cognizant of what you're doing and why you're doing it is so fucking important, because after they came out to visit, they caught feelings, and it's this thing is where I'm like, oh no, this is horrible. And this person kept messaging me, and I couldn't respond to them for a year.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm like, hey, I don't think we should be talking so much because I think this is really, you know, I think you're getting really involved in stuff. And then it's just like, but I miss you, but I love you, but I this. And I'm like, every time that they would message me, I'm like, you were such a piece of shit, Dave. You should never fucking done this.
Yeah.
Why did you do this? You fucking hurt this person. You hurt this person. You know, and granted, that's all coming on my end. But, I mean, they got to take responsibility for themselves as well. But, which they did. And they're living a much better life now anyways, which is, I'm really happy for them. But there was this one gal that I dated years ago. This is like in my mid-20s, right? And before my first marriage and stuff. And it was one of those chaotic where, like, it starts off and everything's fucking great.
Yeah.
Dude, this is one of the things that's really careful. By the way, if you're any young dudes out there, is when you first start a relationship, let's say, and it's been a while, keep in mind your brain is firing off so many synapses where you've got this euphoric feeling that you don't notice things like, wow, this person's drunk all the time. Or, you know, how come they always want to have sex in public? That doesn't make any sense. All right, whatever. That's cool. They're just a wild, crazy person.
This is all ringing a bell.
Yeah, and that's it, and there was this one, and I remember like this relationship started. We moved in really, really fast. I ended up having to leave, sleep on my buddy's couch for a bit. Shout out to Clay for letting me crash on their couch and stuff. And it was weird. I was like, man, I was pretty close to being homeless after the whole situation. Now the weird thing is that there was like, ooh, the booty call, right?
Yeah.
So that happens afterwards too, and this is one of those things that we always had. That was always a good part of the relationship was the sex, right? And the last time that we'd hooked up, where I'm like, I know we're not dating anymore. This has been a couple of months and stuff, and we didn't even finish because she was crying a lot.
Jesus.
Right? And I was like,
boy.
are you sure you want to? She's like, just fucking do it. I'm like, all right. I'm like, I feel like I you know,
like he was like raping herself with your dick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus.
And then she was like, you know, we both know what the fuck this is. That's it. Just whatever. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have come here. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't feel good about this. She doesn't feel good about this. Let's just not do it now. And that's just like craziness of your 20s and stuff, right? Now, the thing is where I really, really fucked up is that about a month or two later, I was basically feeling horny. I'm like, I wonder if I should give her a call and see how she's doing.
And?
Oh, she picks up the phone.
Oh,
and
no.
She was like,
you called her?
Yeah, I called her.
Oh, I thought you texted her.
No. I called her, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And she was like, why the fuck are you calling me? Do you love me? Do you hate me? Why the fuck are you doing this? Why? What do you want? Do you want to date? Do you want to get back together or not? Why the fuck do you And I was like, this was a mistake. I'm sorry. I won't call again. She's like, all right, just fucking don't. Please don't. And I was like,
okay.
And so this is somebody that I've never been able to really kind of apologize to. I'm like, you know what? I was in a very, I don't make this sound bullshit. I think I was so starved for somebody to care about me and that because I wasn't doing that for myself.
Yeah. You just want to get laid.
Well, I just wanted somebody to fucking notice me and care about me.
Yeah.
Getting laid thing was a great part on top of that. But for the most part, it was
you were fucking with her head.
Inadvertently.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, and I was like, oh, holy shit.
Be careful with that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So the time for that I should have walked away was probably way before any of that, but it was because it was a chaotic relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that, she was really messed up. Dude, I was super fucking messed up back then. Super messed up. So we spoke the same level of crazy, and I'm like,
Yep. Uh-huh.
I'm like, holy shit, I should have
The old
walked away.
yin yang thing.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And that was stuff that happened. Now this is another thing I wanted to give you something that I wish I would have known or somebody would have told me. When trying to get with a girl, it's really important to make sure that you still could look yourself in the mirror and still like you.
Yeah, because I had a few of those where I was doing something I shouldn't have been, and I was like, "What am I fucking doing?"
Dude, I was I used to obsess over girls like really, really fucking bad. Where I'm like, this once again, it came from a place where I'm like, I hate myself. I need somebody to love me, and
I've never done that.
oh yeah. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that was so fucking so crazy. I remember at one point there was this gal that like I fucking I called her all the time. That's fucking horrible.
Don't do that.
I wrote a song that I sang for her.
Oh no.
All right. By the way, this would have been great if I was a great musician and knew how to sing, but I didn't.
Your name's not John Cusack either.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Your eyes.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Oh, dude. And when it got to the fucking point where, like, she did this weird thing where it was like New Year's Eve. She texted me. She's like, "Hey, why don't you come over?" And of course, I'm like, "All right." And then she gave me the address, but she didn't tell me what apartment she was in. And then when I got there, she never returned any of my calls and stuff. So that was like 40 minutes that I drove out there, and I felt shit. Like I should have called that the Cohen move, or the Jeff Cohen move. But the shout out to Jeff Cohen.
Shout out to him.
But the whole thing is that I was so pissed. I'm like, why? What did I do to you? You know, and I wrote like an email the next day, and I was like, I promise I'm not going to call anymore because I've really had I don't like me like this.
Yeah.
I know that I'm being obsessive. I know that I'm being fucking nuts right now. I could see, I could see it kind of, not to the extent of what it was, and I'm like, I don't like me when I'm like this.
Yeah.
So, like Jenny, who I've been with for almost 10 years this October, there's never been a point in that relationship where I've been like, man, I don't like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Because Jenny's rad.
Yeah, and I had to go through all those things in order to get to that relationship.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things of like having to know when to walk away is one really, really being, like I said, going back is like being cognizant of what your intentions are, you know, because not what you think, what are your actions saying that what you're doing, you know, because you could think you're being a really good guy, but your actions are like, I just need somebody here.
Yeah, no, that was part of the problem too. I mean, I know that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've done that. I had a one night stand one time. Actually, it wasn't even a one night stand. They went on a couple dates with this chick, and I had like a one night stand that I just ghosted her, and I felt terrible about it. And then she hit me up like about 2 years later, all she said was, "Hey, like, I don't hate you. Like, what? How you doing?" And I just like let loose, be like, "Listen, man, I don't do that shit. I did it to you. I feel fucking terrible about it." And it was because, okay, so I had some medical issues a while ago, like about 5 years ago or so. And when you go through shit like that, you think either A, you've beaten death, or B, you're close to it. So you just like, all fucks go out the window. I don't give a shit. So, and then there was this chick that I knew that liked me. So I DM'd her. I was like, yo, what are you doing tonight? And we hung out once. We had second base type of shit, you know, making out, heavy petting, all that shit. Second time, we went back to her place and banged out real good. Third time, did it again. And I was starting to kind of feel like there was something there. And then because I was so, like, didn't know what the fuck was going on with myself, I literally just ghosted the shit out of her. And she didn't fucking deserve that. She didn't know, you know? And I felt really bad. Like, I'm not that dude. Like, some guys can just do that and shit and just walk away and be like, whatever, man. Like, I can't. I don't have that in me. So when I do it, I feel fucking terrible. I don't feel good. And I kind of get depressed about it because I was like, I did a shitty thing. I don't like it. So that's, you know, so I mean, I don't really know how to really avoid that one. I think it was just, you got to understand sometimes that you are the shithead in the situation.
But at the same time, you don't have to be the friggin' shiny knight either.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, even a lot of the other stuff, like, you know, the stories that I was telling, or the stories you're telling, we're telling from our perspective, right? there's a whole other person that's involved in that equation and stuff, and they've got choices they got to make and
Yeah.
responsibilities they got to keep as well. So, but we mentioned this stuff just for the young fellas out there because I wasted a lot of time hating me because I was putting myself in situations that I shouldn't have been in. And if I would have been, if somebody said, "Hey, asshole, come here for a second,"
Yeah.
like,
Well, here's the thing, though. You think like do you honestly think that you would have listened to an older self?
I think you know what, there were certain times like even though like my brother Drew, all right,
Okay.
and Drew's gone through many ups and downs in his life, and you know, even when he was the most messed up, I still would have listened to my older brother because he's my older brother.
Yeah.
You know, or like I grew up because my dad passed away. Your dad wasn't really. He wasn't somebody who was like, Jake, come on, tell me what's going on with your day.
Oh,
You know, like
well,
that wasn't.
We would have these talks, but it was like few and far between. I'm not
Right.
saying he was never there, but
Yeah.
like when you wanted him to be there, he wasn't a night. He would,
Right. So if you don't have somebody like that older figure, an older dude, to be like, all right, jackass, this is what the problem is. You're thinking with your dick, and this is why this is happening. And you're like, what? All right, so this is how you fucking get at it. You know, like one of the things when I was going on a psychiatrist, he was like, people think that men get all of their emotional intimacy and stuff like that from their moms. They learn how to feel, from their mothers, but they learn about relationships from their dads.
yeah.
And so the dads are the ones, like, if your dad's not there to teach you and be like, okay, so you're getting kind of freaking nuts for this girl, right? And, like, all right, okay. Like, a guy would, if your dad was like, if you're not listening, he's like, all right, start doing push-ups. What? Fucking now, start doing push-ups right now. And he's going to wear you out until you get all that energy out and like, all right, now listen. And if you don't listen, you want to go fucking run around the block, because he's trying to wear out that testosterone,
Yeah.
basically, and be like, okay, do you understand what I'm saying now? It's like, oh, okay. And you'll fucking get it because he's like, yeah, that my brain wasn't working right. Like, you're right. Your brain wasn't working right. And that's that type of weird shit. So
My dad waited until the day before I got married to give me that talk. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, well, it's a little too fucking late now.
yeah,
Fucking people have flown here. Like, I have rented a hull. Like, we spent thousands of dollars, and now you want to be like, so Jacob, you really think this was a girl for you? No, Dad, it's all a joke. You fucking idiot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like,
my mom said that in front of before my first marriage.
oh yeah.
She's like, I don't think you love her, sweetie.
Oof.
And I go, Mom, yeah, I do. And she's like, you got to do whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
but I have to tell you, I wouldn't. I have to tell you.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm like, okay. She's like, I won't mention anything else about this ever again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And even like one of my ex-girlfriends, Amy, who's still a good friend of mine, she was like, yeah, after I met her, I'm like, yeah, she just doesn't seem like somebody who would be for you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but you know what? At that time, like, I wasn't going to listen to my mom. I wasn't going to listen to, and by the way, Amy at that time knows me very, very well.
Yeah.
I would say the only person who knows me more than she does would be my wife. And it's really weird now. If my dad would have been there and like, all right, dickhead, come here for a second. Like,
Yeah.
you see how when you say you want to have these dreams and shit like that, and she kind of like slightly brushes it aside, yeah, that's not going to go away. That's going to keep coming back more and more and stronger until she breaks it down. The best chance you have right now is to set your car on fire and then get a new name and just move to New Mexico or some shit. All right? It's the only way you're getting out of this. Now go, run, bitch. But yeah, that's it's a weird thing, but that's the part of growing up. That's the part of learning, guys. Like I said, I went through a lot of shit stuff, but I got to a really good spot, and then I've been pretty fulfilled with. I use this word carefully. Like, I'm not trying to be happy. I'm trying to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
I'm very fulfilled of what the relationship that I had now. So, and guys get it too. It's really tricky because there's not a lot of freaking roadmaps.
Ooh. Plus, that dick is speaking to you real loud. Like, don't worry about that. Just stick me in her pussy. That's all it's doing the whole time. So it's like and then you'll just blow by so many red flags, and you won't give a fuck. Or like my marriage we should have never gotten fucking married.
Right.
It should have granted, I'm not saying it didn't. It's hindsight's 20/20.
Right.
But there were some things that I knew right off the bat. Like I thought, I don't know. that was one of those situations where we should have dated for like a year or two, and then
Mhm.
realized like, oh, this is not going to go the way either. We both were going different directions.
Yeah.
And I tried to live in her world, and I hated it.
Mm.
She tried to live in my world, and she hated it. Like,
Right.
you know, and we kind of like we were good together, but not great together. So, but like the point is like with the walking away thing is like you got to know when to do it. Otherwise, you're in like if the longer you wait, the more of the situation's going to get serious. The more the band-aid's going to stick to you.
Mm-hmm.
So when it gets ripped off, which by the way is not your choice sometimes,
Yeah.
it's going to hurt, and it's going to hurt real fucking bad. And it's, you know, just how you fucking deal with it.
You should ask the question before you move in with that person.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying get cold feet. Like, I mean, this person could be awesome. You've got to be honest with yourself and maybe talk to the person you're dating.
Mm-hmm.
And if you bring this shit up to them and they act like an asshole to you, then maybe that answers your question for you.
Yep.
Bam, there you go. You know, you got to find someone who's worth half a fuck. You know, and that's the hard part. That's way easier said than done. Trust me.
About it, man. I think you imagine it would be like here's a good question I should have asked myself because I didn't really know I wanted to be a comedian.
I did
before I got my first marriage.
Yeah,
that was something that started coming back like around, like I would say, around the same time. So, and we'd already gotten married at that point, but I was thinking that like, man, she doesn't really like stand-up comedy or crude humor. That should have been, like,
well,
had I known that before, I'm like, oh, you know what? I could save us a lot of time.
Yeah.
But for me, the last walking away story that I'll have after the divorce, and by the way, I cheated incessantly on my first wife. Like
Whoops.
a lot. And no, that was my subconscious going like, I'm going to find, you're too much of a wuss to walk away from this. I'm going to make you fucking walk away.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to set every relationship that you have, especially this one that you're supposed to be dedicated to this person for life. I'm going to set that relationship on fire.
Yeah.
And so much to the point where, I mean, I was so divorced of anything away from like who I wanted to be.
Yeah.
That like I didn't recognize myself, and it was pretty fucking scary when you get to that point, guys. But hopefully you never do. But even after all that stuff is gone, we're divorced, or even like, you know, we're separated. We're definitely getting a divorce and everything. I was still trying to be a friend and still be friends with her.
Yeah.
Right. She had no interest in being friends with me whatsoever, and because of my guilt of everything that I had done, I kept wanting to keep doing it. And it wasn't, I think, until I started dating Jenny. Like, we were moving something, like we rented a U-Haul or something like that, and we were moving something over and taking over to my sister's. And I get a call from my ex-wife, and she just saw the Mystery Diners thing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't supposed to tell anybody that I was a paid performer on that.
Okay.
You know, even though it's in the credits, it says that actors were used, you know, for some of these things like that. So, you know, it says that in the end credits just to cover their own asses. But at the time, according to my contract, I had an NDA, you know, which they said that's in perpetuity. I'm like, well, everybody fucking knows this thing now. So it's not like I'm breaking any fucking things here. But either way, I'm like, oh, yeah, I freaking saw that. And I was like, yeah, well, why is Jen, you know, my friends say they saw you on TV. I'm like, because like, okay, like, were you stealing from this company?
What the fuck?
And I'm like, Jen, what did I go to New York for? She's like, why are you asking me what you went to New York for? I'm like, what did I go to New York for?
That will answer.
And she was like, for acting? I'm like, okay. So if you see me on TV, there's a good chance that I was fucking acting. And it was just weird. And she's like, well, I don't know what people are going to think about this stuff. And I'm like, all right, I got to go. She's like, all right, well, whatever. And then she, you know, that's how we hung up. And then she tried to be my friend a couple times. But the moment I started talking, I could see the middle, like she just couldn't wait to get off the phone with me. And I think it was weird because I think it was because she was on speaker and Jenny was with me.
Yeah.
And she was like, what a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? She's like, you know, I know I'm proud of you for doing that. I'm proud that you were able to do this. That's a fucking amazing thing that you did to get on TV. Why is she fucking shitting all over it? And it was just one of those things where I'm like, why am I still trying to be a friend to somebody who doesn't want to be a friend to me?
Also, you don't always have to fucking do that, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm tired of these fucking soy boy assholes that are like, I'm best friends with my ex-girlfriend who fucked all of my friends. Dude, walk the fuck away. You don't have to be friends with this chick.
Mm-hmm.
And I have people in my life that are like, you know, it's really good if you just, if you just stay in no, literally burn that motherfucker to the ground. Burn that bridge. Sometimes. I'm not saying all the time, because there are some ex-girlfriends that I know. We're not like best friends, like, I'm not flipping you off. I'm giving the cross finger thing. We're friendly. Like, if I see her at somewhere, I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how's this? How's that? Oh, good for you. All right, I'll catch you later. I'm not like, fuck you, bitch. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, you're not like giving her the fucking evil eye and shit.
There are
like,
dudes that are like, that they hang out like they're still dating. And you're like, who is this, your girlfriend? Oh, no, it's my friend. We used to date, and now we just hang out a bunch. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
what are you doing there?
Like, are you just torturing yourself? What the fuck is this?
That would be a good example of a guy who has not figured out how to walk away.
You got to do it.
And it's because you're the more you torture yourself inadvertently is the more you're going to torture everybody around you.
I've told a couple ex-girlfriends of mine, but like the one I first talked about, that one, her, she thought we could be friends still. And I had to literally tell her, listen, if we're friends, I'm always going to think I have a chance to get back with you. I'm always going to think that. That thought's never going to go away.
Yeah.
It's just not. And you're going to get weirded out. Be like, well, you fucking, I might get jealous on you. I might get, all that shit. And also I'm going to get that weird feeling like you're trying to rub this shit in my face, which she kind of was that chick. But I don't want to be a part of that. I mean, I'm not taking a fucking demotion.
Yeah.
That's what you want me to do. Take a fucking demotion. I'm not doing that.
Right.
If we're no longer dating and we're no longer boyfriend, girlfriend, or husband, wife, unless we have kids together where I have to be in your life, fucking you are persona non grata. I'm sorry. Nothing personal, but like it's for both. It's for the good of both people.
Right.
It is. It just
is. Yeah, it is. There was I mentioned one of the Amy, this old girlfriend of mine, and still a good friend, but I can only be around them for so long because I know that, and she still wanted, like, we had such an amazing relationship in that early part of it, like, as chaotic as my 20s were, that was like an island of sanity that was really good at that particular time, and there was never going to be a part, and I wish I would have realized this sooner, there was never going to be a part of me that wasn't going to be okay with anything other than that relationship.
Yeah, sorry.
That took me so long to kind of figure out, and then I was like, well, that relationship that we had, in my mind, it's forever going to exist in the past.
Yep.
It does not exist in the present. She has other relationships and other stuff around, but when she was talking about like whoever she was dating, I could still feel that bit of a twinge in my chest and stuff. And so I'm like, all right, if I'm starting to feel this, then I probably shouldn't be hanging out as much. Okay, I got that. So,
By the way, don't bury that either, because if you just shove that down, you're just like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. That shit will bubble back up, and you're fucked. You will, and then all of a sudden you'll have a screaming match in the parking lot of a fucking Best Buy because she said,
for me.
Yeah, because she said hi to a guy, even though you're not dating, you're gonna get this jealous rage, and then all of a sudden you're like, why the? Then she's gonna think you're a weirdo because like you're fucking losing it on her, and it's not because of the guy at the Best Buy. It's because you've had all this shit, like just completely like just. It's like you're back. It's like you're emotionally constipated, and that was the thing that broke everything loose. And now you're verbally shitting yourself in front of her.
Yeah,
and doesn't look good for anybody. You should just be honest with her and be willing to just say, fuck this, I can't be around you. Nothing personal, just can't do it.
Right.
Gotta be.
Yeah, exactly. That ties in with the friend zone from our first episode.
Yep.
And we got some more things that we're going to be talking about. And if you guys ever have any questions, or anybody who's out there who happens to listen to this podcast, or if he watches like the videos on the live stream or whatever, feel free to shoot us a message or shoot us an email.
Yeah, hell yeah.
mansplaining69@gmail.com, because I'm classy.
Nice.
Yes, or hit us up on the Facebook page. We got Mansplaining with Jake and Dave. There's a Facebook page for it where a lot of the chopped up versions of this, just videos and clips and stuff, and also on YouTube and all that other weird fun shit.
So yes, if you want us to reverse engineer a fuck up in your life, because we've done it before,
yep,
we're here for you.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, hey, listen, man, out of curiosity, do you think it's a good idea that I do this? And we'll be like,
no.
You know what you should do is dress up like a buffalo and then go storm wherever she's living at, and then
Yep. Yeah.
that's the capital, dude.
And then when you get arrested, ask for organic food.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I was so pissed at the fucking holding companies or whatever because I wanted to buy more fucking AMC this week.
Yeah.
And for like about a good 12 hour, no, for about 6 hours, I couldn't. So all I could do was watch my investment fucking drop and drop and drop. And I was so pissed off. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna make me a buffalo costume.
Face paint on.
Yeah,
blue and
exactly.
Red face paint. Put the horns on.
Exactly. Just go to fucking Wall Street and be like, yeah. But luckily, I've got friends to be like, here, come here, stupid.
No, yeah.
You're not doing that. And I'm like, oh, you're right.
Just wait for the class action lawsuit. You'll be fine.
Oh yeah. But I think. Quick little announcement. This is only the third episode, guys, but we were trying to do this once a week, but I think we're going to go to every other week.
Yeah.
To do this because one, there's plenty of other podcasts you guys could be listening to in the meantime, but not because of that, because we want to also put like a good show and not just kind of throw shit together. You know. I'm really happy with the video that we did this week.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see if we could push and see what other kind of cool stuff we could make.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're gonna do a little bit more into that, and there's some more stuff. Don't forget if I can follow Hamill on Facebook.
Jacob Hamill on Facebook. That's I am a white dude sitting next to a black guy. He's my friend Lou. He's dead now, so I hold him deep in my heart. That's why I'll always have that profile photo. Also, you can get me on Instagram at, I think it's Jake Hamill 1981. And also the podcast that we do on Mondays, or you can check it on Facebook. It's on around 6:30 on Facebook, and it's called The You People Show. So please check it out.
Fun stuff with Barry Quattlebaum, Anthony Armstrong. What's James Fisher?
And James Fisher, the producer.
Yeah, by the way, don't try to frickin' make any jokes in the chat room because as much as I love James, James will read whatever I put in there, which, by the way, at the time when I wrote it was fucking epic. Fucking Armstrong is like, keep writing, Jermaine. I'm like, God damn it. If he would have fucking read that 3 minutes ago at that time, it would have been great. But yeah, he'll basically read those things like way after where they don't make any sense. But I appreciate all those guys. It was fun. You know where that did work is when I was doing the Apocalypse show.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
Either way, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks.
Don't be toxic.
Don't be toxic. Night.